The key to changing your attitude is to change your beliefs, to look at life through a new lens. This will change how you perceive the world. Different beliefs will trigger different thoughts, which will trigger different attitudes. So what I look at right now is the most common belief that people have, and that is that the world revolves around me. Right? It's all about me. We're taught to look out for number one, right? The world revolves around us. And it's not our fault. We have been taught this ever since being born into the world. Okay? As a baby, the world did revolve around us, right? All we had to do was cry, and we got whatever we wanted. We got a bottle, we got change, we got picked up, okay, we got put down. We had our parents and many other people's undivided attention. And as we got older, we continued to be conditioned that the life was about us, right? Through advertisements. Burger King, have it your way, right? You deserve a break today. You deserve it. Obey your thirst. Don't obey your parents. Obey your thirst. You deserve a cruise, right? You've earned it. You deserve it. Nike, just do it. So what does it mean to be loving? Well, there's two parts in being loving. The first part is caring about other people more than yourself. Right? Seeing other people not as just employees, not as objects, not as inconveniences, but instead seeing other people as real people with real feelings, real families, and real crises. And the second part is finding ways of showing that care. If you see someone looking sad, give them a hug. Being loving is about caring about others. You know, no matter how much experience you have, no matter what your job title is, okay, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Being loving is a way of showing how much you care. The key is focusing on other people, turning the spotlight on them with the intention of making them feel special. Well, I'm going to share with you 10 ways that you can be loving that doesn't cost anything, and it can be done anywhere, at any time. First, build relationships with the people that you work with. Okay? Get to know them. Take an interest in them. How much you know about someone tells them how much you care about them. Be encouraging. This is a great way to be loving. Everyone needs to be encouraged. Maybe it's just a pat on the back. You know, nice job today. Maybe it's a handwritten note thanking somebody for doing something. Maybe it's rewarding them or celebrating. Anything that can encourage people. And don't just encourage when someone accomplishes something, although for sure encourage that and recognize that, but share the progress along the way. Share the effort. That's what keeps people going. They want to know that someone's out there and that they're being encouraged for what they do. I have an example that I want to share with you about my brother Bill. My brother Bill was born developmentally disabled. He has cerebral palsy, and he was not able to use his right arm at all. Still is not. And he was in the Special Olympics for many years. And in this one particular year, he was in the swimming competition. And it was a 50-meter swim. And I was very excited, actually, because we grew up in Southern California. We had a pool in our backyard, and we all learned to swim at a very young age. And Bill was a very strong swimmer. You know, even though he only had to use one hand, he was still a very strong swimmer. And I'm a very competitive person. So I was excited to be there, to see my brother compete, to see him win the gold medal, right? So all the swimmers get in the pool, and the gun goes off, and they all take off. And it wasn't too long before I realized that my brother Bill was not going to win that race. That people with use of two hands swim a lot faster than someone with only one. In fact, when all the swimmers were finishing the race, my brother Bill was just making a turn to come back. And I remember I was just horrified. And my heart dropped down to my feet. And I was so concerned about how Bill would feel. You know, he's the last one swimming, and he's going to get to the end of the pool, and he's just going to be humiliated. How am I going to comfort him and console him? And then something happened. As he's swimming back all by himself, the people in the stands started cheering for him. And they stood up and they clapped and they cheered for him all the way until he finished. And when he got out of the pool, he just looked at everyone and had this big smile on his face, and everyone was cheering for him. And I'll never forget it. The joy that brought him, because he was being encouraged. And then finally, give up the need to be right all the time. Okay? Because if you're right all the time, that means somebody else is wrong all the time. And if you're always winning arguments, that means you're always making someone else feel like a loser. Okay? And this is a hard lesson I've learned over the years in business, as well as in my family. You know, I heard Dr. Phil say one time to a husband, he says, do you want to be right, or do you want to be happy? Okay? Give up the need to be right all the time. That's a loving thing that you can do. In order to love others, you have to believe that they are more important than you. But because of how we're wired and how society strengthens that wiring in our lifetimes, we are constantly drawn to radio station WIIFM. Right? Anybody knows what that is? What's in it for me? Right? I've got good news for you. The great thing about loving others is not only does it enrich other people's lives, but it has a very positive effect on you as well. Now, it's ironic, isn't it, that when people focus on themselves, they're left feeling empty, lonely. But when they focus on other people, they're filled with joy. And that joy that they're filled with, that's joy that lasts a lifetime. There's nothing quite as powerful as turning your attention away from yourself and connecting with someone else in order to make them feel special. One time I was at a Home Depot, and I bought a 10-foot countertop. And I was going to, I was by myself, I was going to put it in the back of my truck, and, this is going to be okay. It's going to be a little hard, but I was going to be able to do it. And as I'm coming out, there's a husband and wife and child walking in from the parking lot. And the husband sees me, and he says, hey, can I give you a hand with that? I said, sure, that'd be great. He gave me a hand, and it was terrific. Well, I came back to that Home Depot a little while later because I had forgotten something. And as I'm walking into the store, there's a woman walking out with a dolly that has a bathroom vanity on top. And I passed her, and I just paused. I turned around, and when I asked her, I said, can I give you a hand putting that in your car? She looked at me kind of shocked. And she said, sure. And so I gave her a hand, and she was very appreciative. Now, if that man hadn't offered to help me put that countertop in my truck, I don't think that I would have offered to help her put the vanity in her car. Not because I'm a mean person. I just never would have thought to do that. It was that man's actions that inspired me. It changed my attitude, right? And caused me to do something for somebody else. This is my family. And this is me, of course. This is my wife, Michelle. And we will have been married 2 years next month. So this is a blended family, as they call it. This is Kevin, her son, Allie, her daughter, Billy, her son, and then here's Sam and Ben. We got smiles this time, right? All right. When we were married, the kids were 11, 12, 13, 15, and 17. Okay? We had a vision for our family, right? This is our vision. Right? Everyone was going to embrace blending families. Everyone was going to love each other and live happily ever after. Anybody here been part of a blended family? Okay. So you know that this TV show is purely fictional. Right? That doesn't happen. Okay? This is what our family looked like a few months later. Okay? This is Billy here. Okay? Billy was 12 years old, and so he was kind of sandwiched between Sam and Ben, who were 11 and 13 at the time. And Billy was not very fond of me after we got married. In fact, I would say that Billy hated me. I say that because those are the words he used. You know, Billy was the youngest in his family, and so he got a lot of attention from his mom, and all of a sudden now he's got two stepbrothers about the same age he's got to share things with. He's got to share his mom now with me and with my sons. He's got to share his home. You know, a lot of sharing that had to be done. And I was the root of it all, right? I was the root of his problems. I had ruined his life, as he said many times, okay? In fact, in this picture here, you see my hands on his shoulder. I'm sure he is very, very upset about that in the picture that I'm touching here. Created a lot of tension in our home. A couple months ago, Billy's mom, my wife, Michelle, was diagnosed with breast cancer. And this is not something we saw coming. And it turned our world upside down. And so I did what any husband would do. I took care of my wife. I loved her. I cared for her. I was with her at every single doctor appointment, and every biopsy, and every MRI, and every screening. I was with her when she had her mastectomy surgery at the hospital day and night until she came home. I took care of the kids. I did things for Billy and his sister that his mom usually did, right? I just cared for them. I loved them. A couple days after Michelle was home from the hospital, she was talking to Billy, and Billy said to her, "You know, Mom, Bruce is a good guy. I don't think there's anything that he wouldn't do for us." And he went and told everyone that he doesn't hate me anymore, right? He told his dad he doesn't hate me anymore. He told his best friend he doesn't hate me anymore. A couple weeks ago, he told his mom, he says, "You know, Mom, I think Bruce likes me." My behavior changed Billy's belief in me, right? And that changed his thoughts about me, that changed his attitude about me, and that changed his behavior with me, and had an incredibly positive impact on our family. When you get to the end of your life, the greatest memories that you're going to have will not be of all the pleasure moments that you accumulated for yourself. Your greatest memories will be of the way you spent yourself enriching the lives of other people. Those will be your greatest memories. So how do we do that? We accept responsibility for our attitude. We believe that other people are more important than us. And we choose to serve them with an attitude of compassion by being loving. And if we devote ourselves to being loving, if we devote our lives to that, we will inspire others to do the same. And that's how we can change the world. I want to close with a story that Ken Blanchard tells in his book, Leadership by the Book. It's a story about the Special Olympics, which is obviously near and dear to my heart because of my brother Bill. And it was the 100-yard dash final. And there was 9 contestants. And they each lined up with various disabilities. And the gun went off. And they all headed towards the finish line. Shortly after the start, one of the contestants fell down. And he tried to get back up, but he couldn't. And he fell down again. And then he began to sob. And one by one, each of the other contestants stopped when they heard him sobbing. And they came back to him. And they lifted him up. And then they all held hands and walked down the track and crossed the finish line together. The crowd couldn't believe it. They gave them a 15-minute standing ovation. These athletes may have been disabled physically, but they were very advanced spiritually. They knew that they were called to serve others, not themselves. They were called to love others. Let us all leave here today and do the same. Thank you. God bless you.